Hi, my name is Helena Okiring. I am 28 years old. I'm a social entrepreneur. I love my country. I love young people. And I believe in the potential of young people. That informs what I do, think, say, and how I act. About 2 weeks ago, no, 3 weeks now, the Ministry of Gender announced that they had signed a memorandum of understanding between Uganda and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to export Ugandan graduates to work as domestics or domestic workers in the UAE. And we were able to access the copy of the memorandum of understanding. We've also seen the employment contract, and by and large, the idea of trying to create employment opportunities for young people is a good thing, by and large. However, we had some concerns around the process of the MOU. One, of course, the fact that for the countries that have been chosen to receive Ugandan labor, there have been concerns around abuse of human rights, where domestic workers are exploited, they are treated inhumanely. And of course, we got very concerned because these are the same countries our labor is going to. Of course, when you look at the MOU, it stipulates that when they arrive, they'll be entitled to medical fees, they'll be entitled to protection, they'll be entitled to transport. When they work overtime, they will be paid. None of them will earn less than $200. And on the surface, those look like good provisions. But if you also bear in mind the fact that when the MOU also says when they cross or when they are in these countries, they are subject to the laws and regulations of those countries. So whatever you signed on this side does not take precedence over the country you are going to. And the problem or the exploitation of labor, of domestic labor in UAE, partly stems from the nature of the clauses. The system that laborers work under is called the kafala system in the UAE, and it basically is a system of sponsorship. So you come, you sponsor someone. You cannot get into the UAE to work if you don't have a sponsor. So you come, you have a sponsor, you get there. Now, the sponsor takes sole responsibility for you. They are to ensure you have what to eat, where to stay, ideally. Now, because of the loopholes in this law, very many people have been exploited. Very many people get there. The conditions under which they live, the conditions under which they work are deplorable. We have also had stories of people becoming prostitutes, becoming, sex slaves because of the loopholes of this system. Now, we all know that Uganda has a very big challenge with law enforcement. It is one thing to have the law that protects them, and it's another thing to enforce it. It is even a completely different thing to enforce it beyond your borders. Okay, so those are the different levels of challenges we are dealing with. Our ability as a country to enforce and protect these people when they cross. Yeah, it's not like the US. If an American citizen got a problem here, man, they know which embassy to go to. We have seen it. We have seen when maybe tourists are attacked, the embassy will swing in. The ability to enforce, the mechanisms of enforcement are there and they are strong. That is not the case for Uganda. We don't have capacity to enforce these regulations beyond our borders. Of course, there's the argument that it's an agreement between governments, but that's on the surface. We have many things. Our government has been a signatory to so many protocols internationally, so many protocols, we are, for example, signatories to the Beijing platform. We are signatories to very many UN mechanisms and conventions. But the extent to which we implement them is a completely different story. And that's the difference that it makes. It's one thing to have a law protecting people, but if you don't have capacity to enforce it, you know, the same things that we're fearing could happen are likely to happen. So why we're bringing publicity on this issue, one, we understand that young people are very vulnerable. We understand that people need jobs. But we also understand that this is not the solution. Sending people away from their families, for incomes that they can earn here, and we will insist that they can earn them here. Because, for example, if you're sending somebody to be a pilot, or you're sending a civil engineer, a graduate, to go and work as a domestic laborer, look at the state of our roads. We have so many infrastructure projects running right now. You know, if you look at the budget that has just been passed, we have over 20 major infrastructure projects, road, highways. If we just insisted, for example, that for every road being done, 40% of the people on that project should be young people. If we just insisted and said for every business, every foreign investment, there must be a percentage allocated to local content, we can create jobs. If we just came down and said, looked at our tax regime and said, for every young person starting a business, we are going to enable them to grow. So you will, I mean, we provide tax incentives for investors. Why don't you provide them for young people? Those incentives have helped their businesses grow. You can do the same thing for young people. And when you do that, there'll be no need to export labor. Let people go because they want to, not because they don't have a choice. The other concern we have is around branding of labor. 16-year-olds in Nigeria are being known for developing apps. Yeah, in America, look at people like Mark Zuckerberg. That's the brand that young people are creating globally. Why should we have Ugandans having a brand for going to work as domestics? Yeah, today it may look like something simple, but trust me, 5-10 years from today, you'll have to struggle to defend yourself, because the moment you say you are Ugandan, the first thing someone thinks about is, hey, the domestic workers, regardless of what skills and potential you carry. So these things have both short-term and far-reaching impact. And in a bid to address unemployment, let us not be erratic in how we do it. Yes, it may look like $200 is a lot of money, but in actually a first-class economy like you, that is not money. You know, that is not money. You need to be able to save. They're just talking about how much you will get to survive there. How about how much you remit? How about how much you'll be able to save? Because I don't think anybody would want to work as a slave for 5 years or as a domestic worker for 5-10 years. Yeah. So after 5 years, how much will I be able to save? Can I come home and actually invest it back home? Can it actually make a difference for me? But the other thing is also things like career growth. Yeah. When I'm working in, say, when I have my business here, I know in 5 years or 2 years I can project and say we will expand. When you're working as a domestic servant, what do you aspire to grow to? To a senior domestic servant, then a manager of the house? I mean, where does it go? You know, so even your psyche as a young person, it affects your aspirations for life. If you start at that level. Yeah, when will you have bigger dreams beyond cleaning someone's floors? And I mean, we as a government has a responsibility to help people aspire to be the best they can be. Africa is the world's biggest market right now. Africans are very enterprising people. They are ingenious. I mean, in spite of the fact that we have the highest level of business deaths in a year, we also have the highest level of startups, meaning we also have the capacity to do things in spite of challenge. And that is something that should be exploited. That tenacity, that ability to take on odds and make something out of it is something that should be exploited. Not, you know, you look at it and say, oh, let's take people to become slaves. How it means we have the ability to manage challenge. Let's sit and have these discussions with young people. There is so much. I'm telling you, the skills in this country, I work with social artists, the skills in this country are amazing. People are talented, people are gifted, people have what the world needs. Yeah, but government should work towards creating an enabling environment for our best to thrive, not our worst, not started scrubbing floors. That one, I really don't think it should come to that. So what we're really doing is telling young people out there, guys, one, understand this MOU, understand what it means. On the surface, it's rosy, but we all know working in another country is not as simple as we are trying to make it seem. And we need to be honest. Let's not just talk about the rosy side of it. Let's not just dismiss the concerns around the possibility of exploitation. We know our ladies, for example, in Uganda, are very beautiful. If you're talking about graduates, you are sending young people, yeah? A girl in her early 20s is in the, she's just starting to bloom as a woman. They look beautiful, they are hot-blooded. There are so many issues around that. How are they going to be managed, yeah? This is the time for people to be clear on what they want to do with their lives. It's not the time to take people to start scrubbing clothes. This is the time for people to aspire, to dream, to say, where do I want to go? So we're telling young people, understand this MOU. Let's have conversations about it. Let it not just be something that was written and then people go. Let the public know. That's a form of accountability. Let people know. Let people engage with this discussion. Let's hear experiences of people who have come back. Let's hear, what did they go through? How can that inform this process? It's not, you can't just have an MOU, because our Ministry of Gender was saying the reason we have signed this MOU is to make sure those things don't happen to Ugandans. About their growth, yeah? How about their well-being? If you are separated from your family for a long time, how will I know I can come back? What does this mean for me as a young person to go to another country, to start from zero? There are culture issues, We are a Christian, we are fairly liberal. You are going to a predominantly Muslim practicing state. What does that mean for you, for your lifestyle, for how you live, for what to expect? Issues of culture shock, you get it? So let's have a conversation is the point. Let the public be in the know. Let the young people who are expected to go engage with this issue, so that when they take the choice to go, they know what they're getting into. Let people not get there and get shocked. Let people not get there and, suddenly the government that swore to protect you is not there. What do? Let's have honest conversations about this. This is all we are saying. And in the process of engaging, maybe some people could change their minds. Maybe some people would say, okay, let me go, but these are the safeguards I need to take. Let's not just present it like paradise, waiting for people to run into. That's what we are against. We want people to engage. We want people to understand. We want the government to be responsible, to be accountable. When these people go, who is accountable? Because the MOU takes liability off them. It doesn't give government any liability. You are practically on your own. So that's what we are really saying. Let's engage, let's discuss. We're not saying it is a bad idea to export labor. We're saying let it be in a transparent manner. Let there be some form of accountability. Let young people take the choice to go after they understand what they are going to do. Let the public, let the media engage with this issue. Let people know. Let's talk about it.